I'm Fernandez, the Executive Director of the Louisiana Institute of Higher Education, and I would like to welcome all of you to the 5th Annual Battlefield Symposium, Day 1. For tonight, I'd like to introduce Bill Highland and their story to take us through the meeting.
You know, a dear friend of mine had written speeches for Franklin Roosevelt, and she always said that whenever she spoke over the microphone, she felt as though she was speaking from the other side of the grave. And of course, I completely agree with her. So again, let me welcome all of you tonight to the historic St. Bernard Parish Courthouse, and thank Curtis Manning and the Institute for Higher Education at Nunez, and of course Parish Government for making this facility available to everyone. This is the historic St. Bernard Parish Courthouse. There were 3 courthouses on this site. The first courthouse was built here in 1848, and it was built on land which was sold to St. Bernard Parish by Mr. Acosta's great-great-great-grandfather, Vicente Nunez, who was a Canary Island senator. So, in any event, this building is 100 years old. It had its centennial anniversary last year. The first courthouse was here from 1848 until it burned in 1884. The second courthouse was wooden also, as was the first. And then it was determined by the leadership of the parish in those days, led by Congressman Albert Estopanol, that it was important to build a larger courthouse and one that would be fire resistant. And it so happened that at the time, there was a great deal of experimentation in buildings out of poured concrete. So this is a poured concrete structure. It was designed by the firm of Toledano and Woven. They did the Montleone Hotel in New Orleans, the Roosevelt, the Pavilion, the old Worldlines restaurant. So really a great architectural firm, and this is a great example of what they've done. And as you see, I can get wound up easily about history and forget the wonderful thing that I have to do tonight, which is to introduce Anthony Arthur Fernandez Jr. Tony has done so much in this community, I can't begin to tell you everything. He is married to Rosalind Caluto Fernandez, who's seated back there. He is the father of 4, the grandfather at this point of 4. He's a great, dedicated Roman Catholic. He supports his church selflessly as well as his community. And I have to say that as a historian and a researcher, he undoubtedly has no equal. He is an attorney by profession and training, and his attorney's training caused him, among many other things, always to look for the original documents and to see, first and foremost, what the original primary source documentation said. So that in many ways, Tony has been a historic revisionist. And so tonight, he's going to tell you about the Battle of Borgne. His family lived at Shell Beach, and he spent his early youth at Shell Beach. His father was an educator, Anthony Fernandez. His uncle, Frank Fernandez, was our first parish historian. So forgive me. So Tony, please come up. He told me not to say too much, and already I've said too much. Thank you.
I hope you can hear me without the mic, but I will use it if necessary. Can you hear me in the back? Everything clear? Okay. What I'm going to do is to begin rather novelly in a sense. I know we're going to talk about the Battle of Lake Borgne, but what we're dealing with in a sense is a battle for navigation in the lakes and coastal area in southeast Louisiana. And the first instance we had of a conflict over navigation was in 1779 when Spanish on Louisiana. And at that time, the British had control over West Florida and had outposts along the Gulf Coast, this Mobile, Pensacola, Fort Manchac, and had a naval vessel called the West Florida that routinely patrolled those waters. That's a mock-up of the West Florida. And in that same year, 1779, the Continentals had a contingent here in New Orleans embedded. The naval part of that contingent was headed by Captain William Pickles. Our friend, Bernardo Galvez, had given to the Continentals a schooner which was to be used to gain mastery of the lakes and the sound. So in September of 1779, as the West Florida sailed in through the Wrigley's to Lake Pontchartrain, the Mars, which was anchored in Bayou St. John, went out under continental colors to attack the West Florida. There was a short but intense action. The captain of the West Florida was killed. The continental vessel Mars was set afire. The Continentals prevailed. Captain Pickles transferred the Continental flag to the West Florida, and thereafter, the West Florida sailed under Continental colors with the Spanish flotilla that went and captured both Mobile and Pensacola. Okay? So these same combatants, the United States of the Americas and the British, 35 years later, will engage in the same type of conflict in the same waters southeast of the Pacific. So whoever said history repeats itself really knew what they were talking about. I'm going to try to fast forward a little bit here, only to show you so that I can emphasize it in every era. This is the naval navigation map of 1817. Now, Pensacola is way up here, and there's the mouth of the harbor there. This is Mobile. Here is Cat Island, Ship Island, Lake Borgne, and the passes in here where the Battle of Lake Borgne will take place later. What I want to show you is this. Even in 1779, there was no mystery for any vessel to pass between Pensacola and the Wrigley's, Lake Pontchartrain, and even into Lake Borgne. Sometimes historians get hung up on the fact of how did they get here, how did they learn the waters. 35 years before, the British routinely sailed the waters. Okay? And I'll show you instances even later how the waters, all of these waters were well known by a lot of the captains because, in effect, I don't want to get the outline because I'll get on these tangents. But in any event, around 1810 or thereabouts, the 8th largest port in the United States was Bayou St. John. And all the commerce out of Bayou St. John was shallow draft, schooner vessels, or sloop. And all of it went through the rivers, all of it went through the passes where the Battle of Lake Borgne took place. And a lot of it was going to the ports in Mobile, Pensacola, and some of it was even going to Cuba. No mystery. Okay? But sometimes we have to go back in time to take a look at the events there so that when we go forward, we understand what the knowledge was at that time. Okay? Now, let me see if I can get this back. Get back on the program here. Okay. In 1803, the United States acquired Louisiana territory. The first service that came to Louisiana, or actually the city, after the Louisiana Purchase was the revenue service.
Thanks a lot.
Well, they sent the revenue cutter, Louisiana here, which landed in December of 1804. The revenue cutter had been built in Fells Point in Baltimore and was quite a nice schooner vessel. It was sent here for two primary purposes. Number one, collect taxes. Number two, nothing's changed. Number two, to protect the commerce as best it can. All right? Now, after it arrived, in April of 1805, while it was at anchor at the mouth of the river, the Bleeds, the crew observed two British privateers right off of the coast attacking an American schooner by the name of the Felicity. The American, the Felicity was on its way back from Central America with a small little cargo of silver doubloons, $20,000. By the way, that's what generated the trade here in New Orleans without money from Central America, particularly the silver and some of the gold. There was no way that those people, our people from the Mississippi, the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley, and Missouri Valley, could have ever brought that cargo to New Orleans and returned home. We're dealing with the age of sail, not steam, and the only way to get back home was by horseback. And the only way they could carry something back home for their cargo was to have either gold or silver coin. Just like many times we complain now, again, nothing changes. There was very little United States coin here at the time. Whatever coin was minted by the United States government by this era stayed along the Atlantic coast. So New Orleans, in that gigantic trade that took place here, relied on Spanish coin to make it go. Okay? Now, we're in this engagement here. We have the revenue cutter Louisiana at anchor. She sees the two British privateers attacking, lashing on to the schooner Felicity. She sails out, fires the guns. The British privateers fire back. She makes a circle around, as we see here, fires again, and the privateers figure, well, there's no place to be. They cut loose of the schooner, they sail away. Importance of this event. Importance is this incident was the first time that the sovereignty of the United States was enforced in the Louisiana territory. And that occurred in December of 1805. The next year, 1806, the United States Navy arrives here in New Orleans. And the Navy sent here to head and establish the naval base an eminent British-American Captain, John Shaw. Very capable. He brought with him, by the way, a young lieutenant by the name of Daniel Patterson, who would become the station commander during the British siege of New Orleans. Okay? So we have Patterson here in 1806. So any thought about he didn't know the waters of this or that, by the way, as well, the fleet commander on Lake Borgne, Captain Jones, arrived in New Orleans in 1880, only 2 years later. So both of them were very seasoned, knowledgeable people, the waters here and the goings-on, traffic and otherwise. The other thing John Shaw does, he establishes the naval base, occupying the facility that the Spanish Navy had previously occupied. That is on the Mississippi River, only a short distance down from what we know now as Jackson Square. Important, only the Navy was here permanently. The Army came and went. They had an armory, but they had no base facility. The Navy was here every day. Second important thing, from the time he established the base, he accumulated various military supplies that were needed for the Navy and for the defense of New Orleans. And those supplies included cannon powder, and gunpowder, as well as cannon themselves, all shot. Very useful for General Jackson when he arrives in New Orleans on December 2nd. All right. President Jefferson had theorized that the best way to protect the coast and the coastal cities of the United States was by building and deploying a whole series of smaller boats called gunboats. Most historians refer to them today as Jeff boats, named after Jefferson. Generally, these vessels were 55 to 75 feet in length. They generally had a large gun on the bow. There would generally be the schooner or sloop rig. It was envisioned that they would have at least 20 of these vessels here in New Orleans. When the British began their assault on New Orleans, there were only 6. There were only 6. Okay. Now, the next major event is the outbreak of the War of 1812. Immediately upon the outbreak of the war, the British established a blockade at the mouth of the river. August 1812, the British were blockading the mouth of the Mississippi River. Now, they did that by using the port of Pensacola. Now, by international law, they probably could not have, for this reason, that Florida now, then, belonged to Spain. But the problem they had was that in the Napoleonic Wars, Britain had actually captured Spain, in a sense. And Britain had used during the War of 1812, all of the Spanish bases in the Western Hemisphere. So the British blockading force establishes the base in Pensacola, occasionally out of that. And I know of at least one instance where they were in Veracruz. And the mouth of the river being here, were very successful in that blockade. Very few vessels, particularly blue water vessels, those that were ocean-going, would be successful in leaving the river without being captured. One of the reasons the British were so zealous about capturing vessels was that there were prizes, and that the crew would share in a large percentage of the value of the vessel and the cargo. So, it was very worthwhile to be on blockade duty and to be successful in blockade duty. Two other important reasons, things to know about the blockade. Since the cargo could not get out from New Orleans, it continued all through the War of 1812, piling up in the city. And by 1814, it was like a plump Creole tomato ready to be picked. And the invading British Army and Navy would have had rights to treating all of that cargo, all of that value in the city as prize. Okay? Something that, without a doubt, we know motivated a lot of the British officers to continue what became, in a sense, a very foolhardy enterprise. The other thing that's interesting again, you should know, and I alluded to it out of place, out of sequence, but here it comes again. In 1812, one of the larger ports in the United States, not civil, not nearly as large as Florence now, but very large port, is Bayou St. John. Okay? And the British could not halt all of the trade that came out of Bayou St. John. Now that trade went from into Lake Pontchartrain, through the Wrigley's, through the passes, where the Battle of Lake Walk would take place, into the Sound here, sometimes out through past Marianne, sometimes out around Dolphin Island. And that trade was routine, went on every day, and schooners left Bayou St. John and returned. For reason to know, again, there were certainly at least 100 captains and owners of these schooners who all, every one of them, knew these waters so well. No mystery. None. Again, the British had been here before. They certainly had navigation maps as far back as the 1770s. And we had constant trade here, even during the War of 1812. Now, getting into this, by the way, is the HMS Sophie. Sophie is rather an important vessel, primarily because of its captain. Its captain is Captain Nicholas Lockyer, who would be the commander of the British flotilla during the Battle of Lake Borgne. But he has quite an interesting history, even prior to the battle. Okay. In July, August of 1814, the Admiralty appointed Captain William Percy as the fleet commander for the Northern Gulf Coast, making him the highest ranking British naval commander here. He was given a series of orders. Pretty well followed those orders. And by the way, he had a flotilla, including the Sophie, that was here to help him in his goal and fulfill his orders. One of the orders was certainly to continue the blockade, which they did. And this is a picture of the Sophie on blockade. But two things that he did, Percy did, that were not specific in his orders, that are very interesting to historians. But the first thing he did was to send Nicholas Lockyer to go to Barrack Harbour and try to elicit Lafitte to be a British ally. Okay? One successful. Then the second leg of what he was asked to do was to, well, not asked to do, he fell into gear. Percy then decides that he's going to attack Fort Borgne. Fort Borgne is at the entrance to Mobile, rather lightly defended fort, and kind of disrepair, like virtually everything was along the Gulf Coast when the War of 1812 broke out. So Percy takes his ship, the Hermes, and 3 other vessels, and they attack the fort. Another disaster. The Hermes is blown up. The other ships are pretty well beaten up, and they went back to Pensacola. Now, again, Percy had no direct orders to attack Fort Borgne. None. And in his, you know what I'm going to say? Court-martial, for doing so, okay, He gave at least one excuse that is a little far-fetched, said that he felt that if he captured the fort, then he would capture the city and he would have a direct line of communication with the Choctaw Indian Nation. It sounds to me like an excuse after the problem. But anyway, we move on. But we have, with Percy, documented on his ship, the one that was blown up, but the prophet prior to it being blown up, the Fernandez, a very knowledgeable pilot. Now I say that with already telling you that there were so many people who did it. And I say this only because it was highlighted in his court martial. And I tell you this as well, that the survivors of Percy's vessel, the Fernandez, it's estimated that 150 people died or killed in the Fernandez. Okay? But the survivors were sent or brought off to the Sophie under Lockheed's command. And we're going to follow that lesson. Okay? Now, the next guy, oh, by the way, that's a depiction of the squadron, British squadron attacking Obama. This guy, we all know this. Thank you, Lord, for having me here. Always had the habit of turning. Being at the right place at the right time. And that's more than a gift. That takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, and a lot of experience. He had it all. And I'm going to just interject, I'm not going to give you a lot of opinion. If he hadn't been here, we might not be here. He had the right solution, the right time, and the right place. But when anything, he attacks, he follows up, in a sense, on the attack of Fort Borgne. And on November 6th, he attacks Pensacola with his army. Okay? He destroys the British military supplies that they had at Pensacola, and he disperses those vessels that had limped there from Fort Borgne. So no exit. And then, being the guy that knows where to be at the right time, makes haste and goes to New Orleans, and he's here for December 7th. Pretty good. All right. Jackson's here December 2nd. But the British fleet on December 2nd, or let's say this squadron of the British fleet, the advance, in a sense, of the flotilla that will be here, is back in Pensacola Hall. On December 2nd, two of the vessels at anchor. One, the HMS Seahawks. I'll go into that a little bit. And the other one, our friend Lockheed and Sophie. Okay? By that evening, November 2nd, they up anchored those two vessels, and they sailed that night to what will become the anchorage between Cat and Ship Island on November 2nd. They lay. Okay? A chronology that not a lot of historians have picked up, but a fact that the British were there, and the next day they began, those two vessels, with their personnel and their ship's vessels, began sounding and marking the channel between Ship Island here, or here, and Cat Island here. And this space here, all the way up, would become the British anchorage. Okay? Now remember, some of the vessels that came with the British fleet had a draft of 20 feet or more. And one of those vessels Well, let me show you the next one. I showed you how Percy was rather adept. By the way, don't disparage. I know a lot, playing a lot of my friends. But Percy was very political. And he did not have the depth of experience that many of the other British naval officers at the Senate had. This guy. Okay. This is Captain James Gordon, right? Captain Gordon was the captain of the Seahawks. Look, here it is. There's the Seahawks. Okay. He, in the Chesapeake campaign, had just arrived here, having just left the Chesapeake, had sailed his vessel up the Potomac River and captured and not sacked, but was paid not to destroy the city of Alabama. A tremendous nautical feat, and left Alexandria, sailed back down into the Potomac. A very wealthy. Matter of fact, it is widely agreed that there was a legendary, fictional, British Royal Naval Commander, fiction, by the name of Horatio Borgne, James Gordon. If it wasn't him, a lot of his exploits were used in those fictional accounts. An exceptional naval officer. Now, remember, he now is with Lockett and Sophie between Cat and Ship Islands, and they're marking and sounding the past. December 2nd, December 3rd. Not late. December 2nd, December 3rd. The next day, on December 3rd, the big man arrives at Pensacola, and that is Admiral Alexander Cotton, who essentially called virtually all the shots in this invasion up until the time that Pakenham arrived on Christmas Day. Now, another British general was with him, General King. But for the most part, it seems like the will of Cochrane prevailed on everything. And we know this by the chronology that Cochrane had decided and agreed to that anchorage. Now, you take it one step at a time. Once you're going to anchor in that location, then there's only so many places that you can reach landfall. Okay? So the first leg of the journey is set. They're between Cat and Ship Island. That's where they go. Now, the second stage is from there, how to New Orleans. Okay? With there's no hesitation, there's no other plan for going in someplace else or doing other things. Follow the chronology of the fleet, follow the chronology of the man who's in charge. That's it. By the way, he was the admiral in charge of the campaign at Chesapeake as well, and in charge of the British fleet here in North America through a lot of the War of 1812. He's the man. Okay? So he's at Pensacola on the 3rd. Now, on the 5th, Daniel Patterson, the station commander in New Orleans, had received a letter from someone in Pensacola saying the British fleet is arriving. Will they know that they were already walking and sounding the pass out there? But Patterson had sent his 5 American gunboats under the command of Catesby Jones out to the east of the river, out to the south, out to the lakes, to reconnoiter, see what they could find if the British were coming. They had two primary rules, essentially. Number one, go look. Not so much engage, but go watch. And number two, come home safely. When you have only 6 gunboats and 5 of them in one spot, you don't want to lose them, okay? It's like all of us. Our hopes are not always realized. Okay? But let's see how that unfolds. Now, on December 7th, the 2 gunboats that Jones had dispatched, they tell you that he said, this is the way we broke the rule, 5 gunboat fleet up. He kept himself in 156 around Cadillac and 2 of the other gunboats. 2 other ones he sent to the area of Dolphin Island, but inside the island, not outside, where, the British blew on the Eagle. In the area where he sent the British couldn't really get there. Well, on the 7th of December, the gunboat spot a couple of British warships right outside of Dolphin Island, actually transiting from Pensacola to the anchorage between cap and ship. And they fired. No harm done. But these, in a sense, were the first volleys probably to be considered in the campaign to capture New Orleans and the Battle of Lincoln. All this time, more British warships are arriving at what we're going to call the anchorage between cap and ship. And the activity continues to mark and buoy and sound all of that area. And there is additional activity taking place between the ships where they are supplying each other with different provisions and even swapping out cannon and other war supplies. All right, on the 10th. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. This is the 8th. By the 8th, Admiral Cochrane had up anchor at Pensacola and is now anchored in the anchorage between Cap and Ship Island. And from his flagship, the Tonat, he, on his mast, he can, which he does, flag and give signal to all of the anchors as to what action can be taken when and where. Like a telephone, but with flags. But he is at this anchorage. Now, on December 10th, there is an event that occurs that will, in a sense, determine a lot of the outcome of the Battle of Borgne. That is, on the morning of December 10th, a large cold front will pass through the Gulf Coast. The wind on the 9th had been variable, but on the 10th, you know how it goes. Like, the way it works here is this, if you're not a fisherman or not. With the west wind, and then generally the cold fronts go from west to northwest and then north. The water in Lake Pontchartrain and Lake Borgne leaves. Okay? That wind blows it up. And beginning on the morning of December 10th, that water begins rolling out with that cold front and that high wind from the west through the passes in the Wrigley's and all the passes going out into the Sound. That makes sense? And let me tell you what else it is. The clock begins ticking for Jones. every day that passes, every hour that passes, makes it more unlikely that he will be successful in return to the regulars. Got it? Okay? Now, Jones with his 5 gunboats on the campus is that we'll go to past Marianne right here, all 5 of them, and receive supplies from basic books. The British continue their activity. More vessels are high. There's lots of them. On the 11th, the next day, the wind's still blowing strong from the west, turning a little bit to the northwest. Makes no difference. Tides running up. Tick, tick, tick with Jones. On the 11th as well, something is going to occur to put more pressure on Admiral Cobb. He's going to have to take action. On the 11th, the first of the British troop ships arrived at the anchorage. Okay? Now, it's on him to get them from there somewhere on the 11th. The day after the boat, they are here. Now, not all the troops, but a lot of them. Okay. Oh, by the way, while all this is on, Cochrane had ordered Captain Miller on the Herald, HMS Herald, to sail to the mouth of the river and to capture Pilot and any of the Army 7th Regiment that was stationed on the 9th and 11th. He did that. He dropped his boats over with the British Marines and sailors. They went into Pilot Town Police and they captured them. It was only 7. And all took with them all the pilots. So in effect, they now had Pilot Town, the mouth of the Mississippi River, was under British control. On the night of the 12th, Cochrane had ordered all of the ships to man and arm their service vessels, including the barges aboard. Drop them in the water and reconnoiter around his flagship tonight. And that this flotilla, which will include 45 vessels with 1,200 British sailors, Royal Marines, would be put in the water. And he named Lockyer, same fellow that had visited with Jean-Philippe, who had been in Fort Bottle, who probably had that pilot aboard when he anchored with the Seahawks on December 3rd between Cap and Chicago. Okay? He's named as the commander of this British flotilla. And essentially, this is it. Go get it, no matter the cost. Because now, the troops are here, and we got no place to go. The only thing stopping the troops from getting land are those 5 American veterans. Okay, so at night on the 12th, they off their boats in the water, probably around here. They rode all night. And the next morning, by then, let's see, we're dealing with 13, wind is northerly, we're beginning to calm. The 5 gunboats sailed towards Bay St. Louis. They were around past Marianne here. And they sailed up to about here. 10 in the morning, the British flotilla gunboats. Now, when Jones who's the flotilla commander, initially sees them. For some reason, he thinks they're not coming for me, they're going in to pass Christianity. For whatever reason. But at 2 o'clock, the flotilla passes past Christianity, and they still headed to Jones. To complicate things, Jones is hard to learn. He can't move. I know you're thinking, well, maybe I got confused with the next day. In the past, he can't move at 2 o'clock on the day before. So what he does is take, in all the gunboats, take all the articles that they can. They're not, let's say we can get this vessel to float. Don't float. But just as there's misfortune, there comes sometimes good fortune. 3:30, high tide. The fleet pops up. So Jones, using good judgment, makes straight away by sail to the rearwards. Okay? Of course, he's got to go through the passes first. That's going to be another problem. But he does make sense. The British continue on towards Jones. They're not going to let him go. He is the target. They pass the entrance to Bay St. Louis here. The Navy already had a Navy store base here. It had been placed there by Station Commander Porter. I forget the year, but the reason it was placed there was that so many naval people, particularly officers from the East Coast, when they came to New Orleans, they were killed by malaria, dysentery, and lots of other things. So what Porter decided to do is to take the gunboats to Bay St. Louis for the summer. Okay? And he built there an area for provisions, the naval supplies. So that's still there, not used as much because Porter's been long since gone. Actually, Porter is now in the Pacific fighting the British. All right. When the flotilla passes there, though, they spot a small supply vessel, the Tender, under the command of William Johnson. So they send in, I think it's 3 small vessels to go ahead and capture the vessel. Johnson fights them off. So they come back out, not the whole flotilla. 4 more join to that, and they attack Johnson. Still no success. But later that night, Johnson realizes there's no hope for him there against this flotilla of 45 vessels. And he decides to scuttle his supply vessel. And the naval ships. Jones could hear the explosion at 7:30 that night, and he knew what it was. Later question even now, should Jones have done the same thing? Let's look. All right, Jones is going to continue with the 5 vessels towards Britain. 1 in the morning of their arrives. He's high and dry. He's stuck. He's stuck on the bottom. He can't move. And the tide at the pass, Marion Pass, is still going out at least 3 miles an hour. I mean, the lakes are really drying up. And I don't mean like water, but no. We got a problem. So at daylight, Jones gathers all of the commanders, what is this, of the other 4 gunboats, and they talk. And they decide a plan of action. And their plan of action is to fight. Courageous. And what they're going to do is place the gunboats in the line across the channel there, anchor them at the stern, and then use it like Jackson's line in a sense, and let the British come at them. The question always was, we don't know, why did he decide to scuttle the ships of the gunboats? rather than risk them in battle. Because his worst fears are about to happen. Now, we start off right probably 9:30 or thereabouts. Let me get to that now. But that's Jones. Here we go. Towards battle map, like on. Okay, here's the past narrative. Here's the island. To show you how different the world was back then as in the economy. You see where all these images are here? In the past, it's in the middle of Lake Borgne, are they past? Roses. So we're not dealing with deep water no matter what. Very shallow. You never see that now. Boogie, I think you can get tugboats and barges through there now. I mean, it's just nothing like what we experienced. That's why sometimes looking at the original, not only documents, maps, etc., but necessary. Well, anyway, we will do. Okay. The alligator, which is another tender vessel, is over here, belongs to the United States. He's trying to get back to Jones's fleet here. The British see him, they move over here with several of their barges. They capture, in a sense, it's not a big deal because it's more of a supply vessel, likely one. But then at 10 o'clock, they make this line, the British do, with their flotilla across, and they stop, like the British do, very civilized, have tea, have breakfast. Of course, they had been rowing for 36 hours without stop, okay? They get themselves ready, and then at about 10:30, they move on towards the American gunboats. Jones's vessel, due to the strength of the tide against him, had moved out of position. Of course, Jones testified as well that also 163, the next vessel, had moved out as well. Broke his line a little bit. Probably a problem. By 10:59, the British flotilla divided into 3 different squadrons. The central squadron attacks Jones's vessel. The other 2 go to the other vessels to the side. The central squadron is commanded by Nicholas Lockwood. Okay? And he has one of the barges from the Seahawks. Remember we were talking about Captain Borgne? Okay? Actually, 2 of the barges from the Seahawks were in the lead advance after Jones's barge. A gunboat. Well, in any event, it said that the first wave of 2 of the barges against Jones were repulsed, beat back. Then at least 2 more. Now they're trying. Let me show you what the battle maps look like. See, they're not waiting. The British, they're not waiting for anything. They're surrounding as many as the vessels as they can, and they're attacking every which way. Okay, but the second wave comes in, and they're repulsed. But in that second wave, Jones is hit by a musket ball, and he has to leave the fight. The third wave comes in, Sailing Master Parker takes his place. Third wave comes in, Parker, they were repulsed. But when the 4th wave comes in, they come in and land on the bow and the stern, more or less. They gain the deck. They hand-to-hand combat on the deck, pistols, cutlasses, all these things. I mean, really spirited action. Considerable bravery on both sides. Both sides. But nothing hardly braver than Lockheed and the British when they put these barges next to those gunboats, and the gunboats are firing with a big cannon, at least as big as what you see at the National Park, and they're firing grape shot, which is like a machine gun of its day, with maybe 100 of those balls all at once right into that boat. They all dead. It took some courage to do that, but they did. Okay? They suppress and capture Jones's gunboat. They then they're already around and virtually boarding the rest of the gunboats. But they take his gun and swivel it around and use it to fire on the other American gunboats. It didn't take much longer. By 1240, the last gunboat was subdued and the British prevailed. Now, what could have happened? You know, could Jones have scuttled the vessels? Well, one thing, if there was a plus for the Navy, besides showing great courage, okay? 1,200 British sailors and Marines attacking on 45 vessels, okay? Now, he could have scuttled, he could have fought, chose to fight. The British the next day are using the gunboats to move troops and supplies towards New Orleans. Actually, on the 16th, they used them with the advance of the British Army, with Colonel Thornton and British Captain Spencer, ancestor of Princess Diana, to go to Key Island, where they landed and began transporting troops on those gunboats and other vessels that they had to Key Island. Okay? Now, the one thing that was dramatic, Johnson, who had scuttled his boat, took a skiff after his action was over and rowed with some sailors along the coast around to Pearl River, and in the morning saw the line up on the back. He climbs a tree, Johnson does, and with his eyepiece watches the entire engagement of Battle Lake. And then after it's over, he very cleverly goes full along the coast again, to the riggers. Importance. Without him, we would never have known the battle took place. No boats survived. They all belong to the British. He brings news to Jackson and to Patterson of the events of the 14th. And Patterson, I leave it to Patterson and those who were there to express the importance of different things, rather than give my opinion. But Patterson, in writing to the Secretary of Navy, said this, that the valiant defense by the American Navy and their officers and their men have so inspired the people of New Orleans that I have no doubt that we will repel the British wherever they are. Kind of reminds me of, you don't think it's important? Remember Winston Churchill. We will fight him on the shore, we will fight him wherever, and we will fight him anytime, any place. Kind of the spirit, if Patterson says it right, and it is accurate, I have no reason to doubt that that was the thing that was so important about Lake Borgne. Okay? 4 more minutes. I hate to leave a story uncompleted. By the 16th, 2 days after, I told you that, that's my camera day downstairs, probably a veteran of this battle. I am certain by documents that General Keene made contact with one of the fishermen after he arrived in the island, because he bought 5 ducks from him, paid him $5. And this man lived and went to the fisherman's village on Bayou Avenue. So here we go, dice case. They gain the information they can from these guys. They pay them, not a lot, and they are not pilots, they are guides. Watch that language when we read history books. These guys are guides, they're not pilots, okay? They lead 2 of them on the night of the 18th into Bayou Avenue, and that's going to be Lieutenant Peavy and Captain Spencer of Princess Diana. Okay? They go into Bayou Avenue on the night of the 18th, and and everything's beautiful. They go properly all the way to the Mississippi River. There's no encampment, there's no difficulty, there's no detachment, there's nothing. They bring word back, chances are the decision's made on TI. That's the way, okay? Interesting, not interesting, very important thing happens on the 18th that will spoil their plans pretty bad. Not only is it a cold front, it's probably what we would call an Arctic cliff. It passes that night, huge thunderstorms. I mean huge, significant wind, significant rain. Winds blowing out of easterly. Now, that night, the night it passes, there's a white face. Now you know that seldom happens. That the night the cold front passes, you're going to have a freeze. Usually it's the next night or the next night. That night was a hard freeze. Okay? And the wind blew and blew for days. And it's blowing on the top of the low tide from the cold front of the 10th. What happens? British have difficulty moving from ships to PI. Result, invasion delayed. Invasion delayed, big problem. Reinforcements arrive at Jackson. Okay? The weather was very important in this battle. Gave Jackson time to make more of the right decisions. Good?
Fernandez, gift of appreciation. It is a book that Dr. May put together about the New York Community College history legislation. We're going to open this up to questions if everybody is interested in that after we're finished. But before we do, I'd like to remind you all that there are a bunch of activities as detailed in the book that's on the table. I'll be doing a tour that's going to happen meeting at the government complex. I'm hoping to give everybody a little bit of a different angle on how the parish was back then. We'll go through on those. And we look forward to seeing all of them. You can look at Dr. Bandy's website, lnired.org, and there's information there about it. If anybody's got some questions, we'll open it up for you.
All right. And just say real quickly, it's polite to leave if you need to, but otherwise we're going to stay as long as everybody wants to. So now's the time to get out if you need to. So.
Well, when you have, you know, the gun is on the slope. Right. So you get the perspective that's on the side, you would see the barrels pointing to you from, looking like they're behind.
That base on the swivel this way, with you and the boat.
They swivel.
The rebar wouldn't move the boat too much. So the rebar wouldn't move the boat too much?
No.
Okay.
How they did it, I don't know.
I
But
just
it
found
was
that
like,
interesting. Some of you see some of the pictures, it's all broadsides coming out, and
Right.
those ships weren't designed.
but they in fact didn't have a broadside, they would have a single one firing three broadsides. Yeah.
Something you said about Pilot Town, out of curiosity. Pilot Town,
Yeah.
so Admiral Keating, I think, was the one that came and just captured them out. General Keating, whoever captured them out in Pilot.
No, that was Captain Hill on Herrick.
Okay, so what activity was happening at Pilot Town? Was there piloting activity at Pilot Town back in that day?
Oh, certainly. Even
Guiding
before
people
that.
up the river,
Absolutely.
guiding the ships in?
Absolutely. A lot of it probably went back to the old.
Rocket Liver Day was the first captain of the port of New Orleans. He was a pilot in the 1720s.
Yeah. Battle of Lake Long? Yeah. Oh, I think that we had, to be honest with you, on the British side. I think the British owned up to like 120 or something like that. There was an eyewitness that I never did quite what I did back when, pre-K, pre-Katrina. Source of this, who watched another eyewitness sea gauge and said that only half of the British vessels were afloat after the battle. Okay? But they were never, the British were, on disclosing their total casualties, including after the 8th. When you look at that inventory in their list of wounded and killed, accounts seem to indicate on both sides that there were a lot more than they died. Yeah.
Two questions. Did the British barges have any cannon on them that were attacking gunboats, A, and B, what happened to the American sailors that presumably were captured in the battle?
The barges, they had cannons on them as well.
Oh, yeah. Like I showed you, they carried every British vessel in that flotilla had a carrier, and they were firing. But they didn't seem to be quite as effective as the American guns. The thing that was effective, and that's how Jones was wounded and a lot of the others, in the rear of particularly the barges, the larger ones, they had Royal Marines. And they were standing up on the platform in the rear of the vessel, and there were sharpshooters. So instead of just shooting, here's these guys standing up, firing at individual targets, like Jones and Laverne.
And what was the second one?
I was wondering what happened to the American sailors that were captured in the battle.
What happened to the American sailors?
They were brought aboard the British warships, and it must tell you that there was a hospital ship, the Borgne, that the British brought here, and a lot of wounded American sailors were brought aboard that hospital ship, but they were dispersed amongst 2 or 3 of the British warships, and that's where they remained until after the 8th, when they began a prisoner exchange. Okay.
So I came across this quote. It's called Sink or Do Something. And it chronologizes the battle and everything we talk about. It's a pretty good book. You know about it?
Oh, yeah.
Is it factual, historically factual?
I don't remember it that way.
Well,
I had looked at it for quite some
I
time.
got this, I put it up the table in front, everyone wants to look at it later, and I've got the authors.
And there's another good book as well that Professor Smith wrote on Casper Jones, on a biography of Jones, not only the battle here, but his whole life. It's a good book. But when you get down to it, there's essentially one excellent book, and that's the Tours book of the war, of the battle of New Orleans. And what's particularly good about the tour is that there's appendix. As much as what he writes, the appendix is the original source, and you can rely on it, and that's excellent.
I wanted to add a comment about Captain Jackson Jones and hospital ship. This book says that they kept it and wouldn't let it go until the fleet actually left shore and then out. Some 95 days later, it was a prisoner, essentially, with his top officers. So this book actually has got a kind of give and take. It references the British version, the American version, and the account of numbers of wounded and dead different tremendously between the two versions. It's kind of fun.
When did Admiral Cochrane make his final decision as to how he was going to approach New Orleans? Was that
How he made
before
it?
or after the battle?
It would be speculation, but judging from the chronology of the British side, judging from even the letters he wrote before January 8th, which I consider far more truthful, because after the 8th, everyone was kind of covering their butts, okay? Looking at that, I would say the chronology that I gave you would fit. And that chronology would be, they established the anchorage, either with that pilot or without, just general knowledge, that they made the landfall on the island, and they made the connection with the fishermen. The crewmen, fishermen said, try the and I told them, try a lot of things. They did. There was nothing there. They came back, Spencer and Pete, and I'm sure probably it would be logical. The general said, what do you think, Al? Let's give it a go. And that was the go. But the thing that was incredible was that Arctic eclipse on the day of the 18th. It delayed them, and probably delayed them as much as 3 days in making that landfall. And even when they made the landfall, a lot of people don't realize this, but it's in their records. They had the American gunboats loaded with troops at Key Island, headed for Bayview. They only got like 3-4 miles on by. Okay, so only the advance landed, and the advance was in the barges, which were shallow. The rest of the troops that were to land that night was stuck in the mud.